Well, it is 6:45 in the morning and we are headed out to the original Red Bull Rampage site for a ride. We're gonna rip through a bunch of the regular ridges that we ride here on a daily basis. And throughout the video, I'm gonna talk a bit about how the new Yeti SB165 has been performing out here in the southern Utah terrain. We'll cover some pros, some cons, and if I think this bike is suitable to handle all of the terrain that southern Utah has to offer. So let's get into it.
All right, here we are, top of the mountain. Sun just popped up. We're gonna go first lap here on the SB165 down a ridge called Powerline. Riding by myself today, so we're gonna be keeping it nice and safe. First kind of real feature here, little manual. Second rock roll, little plopper. Suspension feeling good on that. Little nose bump. Oh yeah. I think we're about to ride into the shadows, which will be kind of cool. Oh, a little tag on that. Get the double on this. Yeah. Double again. Scrub over this guy. So cool how much the temperature just cooled off. Now into this part. Almost missed that turn. And then this is what I would consider to be the spiciest part of the line. Looks really ridden in from the last few days as well. Woo. Hell yeah. That was a good first lap. And with that lap done, let's talk about some of the pros of the SB165. So for me, the biggest pro of this bike is the short wheelbase for tricks. And to be honest with you, I was a little worried how the stability was gonna feel, but on ridges like that, it feels pretty solid as long as I'm being cautious and not riding above my head. I don't necessarily think that the size small that this frame is going to get me out of any sticky situations I put myself in, but as long as I'm riding calm and confident, it's good. And the 432 chainstay has actually been pretty cool on certain rock rolls because the wheel is more directly under me, the back wheel that is, and I don't feel like there's much bike trailing behind me when I'm kind of dropping into something steep. So that's been pretty neat. And of course the single crown's been super fun to play around with some bar spin. So those are some pros that I've been noticing of this bike so far. And now let's go rip another ridge and then discuss a few cons. All right, lap number 2 here, hustled up to try to beat this hot weather that's rolling in. So let's enjoy this lap. Super skiddy upper section of this ridge called Breakfast. A lot of braking bumps as well, but the bike is eating it all up nicely. That's kind of the main crux of the trail. And here we're gonna take the center line. There we go. Good brakes. Little double drop here. This ridge is a bit chiller than that last one we rode, but still fun. Damn, super bumpy in there. Whew. Heck yeah. That was enjoyable. That ridge has definitely gotten quite blown out since the last time I rode it. And now let's take a look at some cons of the setup. So I want to start things off by saying none of these cons are specific to the SB165, just specific to a slope duro style bike in general, as I've got this thing built up. So the first con was one of the pros, and that is the short wheelbase. Yes, it's great for tricks and things like this, but as mentioned, it is less stable. So that's just kind of a give and take, and all the things we're about to discuss right now really are give and takes, and that's just sort of the nature of the slope duro platform that I've kind of been discovering over the last 2 weeks. Now, the second thing is the single crown fork, not as confidence inspiring as the dual crown. Yes, this is 180 mils of travel, so it is a lot, and you can do a Super C at 190, but even though it is a similar travel number, just the aesthetic of the single crown as opposed to the dual crown, maybe it's just a psychological thing, just not as confidence inspiring on gnarly features. So Those are kind of the two main ones. And the third being the suspension on this is really, really progressive. So in the rear, we're 165, 180 front. I have a 1.0 volume spacer in here and 4 volume spacers on the Super Z. So pretty rampy setup. And out here, for the most part, you're really just setting up your suspension for the big hits, as that's the majority of the compressions you're experiencing. And that's how I've got this bike set up. But because I have it so rampy, on sort of, compressions where you're taking, 50 to 70% of your stroke, it's really spiky. If you've ever ridden an enduro or trail bike with too many volume spacers, you'll know what I'm feeling. The suspension just doesn't feel as plush. It can kind of you're getting a lot of feedback from the bike when you're hitting things, and that's kind of how this feels. Now, that is just the nature of the setup. On a full 200 mil downhill bike, there is more suspension, so you're kind of able to find a better balance between bottom out resistance and just overall plushness in my experience. But yeah, those are kind of the main cons of the Slope Duro platform, not the SB165. This bike's been a treat to ride, and I'm super thankful that Yeti sent this to me. So been an awesome time riding it so far. Those are some cons. Let's go ride a little bit more, and then we'll do some final takeaways at the end of the video. All right, here we go. Riding some jumps now, following my buddy Luke. Luke Whitlock, that is. This is going to be his first year in Rampage. He's a super talented rider, and I'm really happy for him that he got in. It's so well deserved. Definitely following a little close right now. Try to kind of slow up a tad here. Go wide. Oh, he's pedaling. Oh yeah. Love this bottom section. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. That was fun. Looks sick with the backlit dust. Nice. Yeah. Well, it's been a sick day of riding out here so far. We've hit up some jumps, we've hit up some ridges, we've discussed the pros of the Slope Duro platform and the cons. So at the end of the day, what is the bottom line, and can this bike handle all that Southern Utah has to offer? Well, I think yes, 100% this Slope Duro style bike can handle just about anything you throw at it, as long as you are confident. For me, I've been able to build my confidence level out here in Virgin on a full downhill bike, and now that I've built that confidence base and I'm riding a slightly less confidence inspiring bike, I am still able to ride it well. Had I come out here and just hopped on this thing, I think I'd be feeling like a bit of a fish out of water. So I'm really thankful for all the work I've put in over the last few years to kind of get my riding to the point it's at now, and I'm really able to enjoy the pros that this bike brings, such as the short wheelbase, how light it is, the single crown fork, things like this. Just moving forward, I'm really excited to expand and progress my riding with all the options that this bike presents me, especially with the bar spins and tail whips. And I'm just super thankful to kind of be going through this process of learning this bike, how to set it up, and how I can use it to push my riding moving forwards.